Good evening, everybody. We got Jay Nygaard here. Tell everybody hello, Jay.
Better known as the Turbine guy.
And he's still going through these weird local government tactics.
It seems to never end.
So, what's the deal? Like, update us on from since the last video that we did. What have they got you at right now? Like, what's your lawyer status? What's everything's stats right now?
Okay, well, that's a very long story, but I'll try to summarize it. After the larger turbine went down and all them issues went by the wayside, we still had two smaller 300-watt turbines and one smaller down by the shoreline and one up on the house. And the city, after the neighbors sued us, so we had the two down by the shoreline, right? One on each, near each property line, but still on our side, and one on the house, right? So we had three, right, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
300
everybody can see I got the slideshows going that shows pictures of all these.
Yep, 300-watt turbines, 3 feet tall, a little more than 3 feet tall. Make almost no noise, no vibrations, very little reflection. You know, nice little compact units that actually contribute is what we had.
And they just can't stand it, can they?
No. Well, some people can't.
I think it's you. I think it's you, and they're just targeting that.
Well, I don't want to necessarily say that, but I would not disagree with you at all.
Yeah, that's my own feeling. I mean, that's what I see. That's what I'm observing, at least. Because I guarantee Bob up the road could do this, and they wouldn't say anything to him.
So, has anyone here been to like a local? Okay, now I got to do a little research while we're talking. Has anyone here been to a local like Implement or Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever and see one of them 6-foot little garden windmill deals?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There's 4 of them on my street within the property line and side yard setbacks.
And that's also against the code or city?
No, those are all okay, but mine aren't.
Amazing. So windmills that do nothing, just display windmills that do nothing, are okay.
Yes, decorations that spin and make noise and whatever you can put anywhere. But if you put something in to save energy in this city, unless actually there is an exception. Okay.
What's that?
Well, the mayor himself, Mayor Walsh, stated at one point, and I'm not going to say I'm saying this verbatim, but he stated that he is the most favorable in wind energy for ordinances, and he agreed with having a minimum lot size of 10 acres. Now, hold on. 10 acres, minimum lot size, right? Now, that's pretty big, 10 acres, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that exclude almost everybody in most cities?
Pretty much.
And if you're in one of the top 10 richest cities in the United States, other than the East or West Coast, you're the only one. The only one between the East and West Coast. And you're saying it's got to be one of the 10 acre or more. So basically, you're only saying what, Josh?
That regular residents can't have this.
Only the rich people get them.
Yep. It's exactly how it is. And the mayor You know, I don't, cause I don't want to really get in too much of his personal life or anything. But how big is his property?
Well, we're sitting just off top of my head, somewhere around a third of an acre. Yeah, it says probably under a third of an acre. Now, if you go up to his property, it's uphill a little bit. It's deeper, but he's got a street running through part of it, and it's a little wider, I believe. So, he's probably sitting somewhere under half an acre.
And he wanted to do his own clone of your LLC.
Well, that was his goal, I believe, because, I recently, okay, you want to get into that. I recently did the timeline on the Go Green Energy LLC Corporation fiasco run by the Orono mayor. That timeline is that he and the neighbor talked about suing the city. And part of that suit was to include Go Green Energy, which had never any claims against it once you look at the documents. Well, okay, so he had that suit, they had that plan for that suit to go. Now, right before that, while he was on the city council, he filed a company called Go Green Energy LLC Corporation, which is a direct mirror of my company, Go Green Energy LLC.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And I just wanted the audience to be refreshed on that. This guy literally tried to clone Jay's company, and he's trying to shut Jay down from using it.
And he used the city suing my company via the neighbors to do it while he was on the council and mayor.
It's ridiculous. And we see a lot of this in big government happening, just in a bigger scale.
Oh, well, we see this all the time. And, it's interesting because every time I see it, I saw a couple of different issues today. I saw a forfeiture issue on Vice Channel today about a couple in Michigan growing medical marijuana and how they keep having asset seizures and the police coming in and taking their stuff. And it's crazy because I really felt a vibe for these people because I felt we were both in the same boat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I know it's in Minnesota.
For where I live, Orono.
Orono, there we go. Orono. It's a pretty small. Is it a gated community? I know it's a rich community.
They would like it to be a gated community. When I grew up out here, it was a rural community, and it is a large lake, and it's called Lake Minnetonka, and it's pretty much named by the Indians because it means big water, is what Minnetonka means.
I'm sure everybody's familiar with Lake Minnetonka if you know Prince.
Correct. Prince lived on the shores of Lake Minnetonka, and his agent Jimmy Jam and all that. And there's actually Elton John had a place out here for a while, and there's all kinds of different wealthy people who've lived out here.
So I could definitely tell the rich is who controls everything there.
No, it's not so much that because, there's two different types of rich, okay? And, just like there's different types of people, because people can be judgmental and people can't. And in this community, you truly find out the difference, because there are people out here with plenty of money, more money than any of us would ever need, and they are not judgmental about a thing. And there's people out here with just enough money to make them think they get to be judgmental. It's crazy that way. And one of the big differences I have tended to find growing up out here, because I did, since I was a kid, we had a house over on North Arm, and then I grew up in Long Lake. But one thing I tended to find out is that the older money tends to be more the normal people. It's the newer money that tends to be uppity.
Insane. So they're just taking it over.
Well, they try to. And that's exactly the problem. That's why we have to keep standing up for the way this community is and was.
So now, I remember the last video we did was after you went to court and they pretty much declared a mistrial, wasn't it? Because they didn't have everything right, or the judge didn't state something correctly?
No, what ended up happening was the order was ambiguous last time. And we wouldn't have gone to court standing up for ourselves if we didn't think it was ambiguous. So when we went and the judge found that the order was ambiguous, and what he said was he was going to write a new order using my language, so that the order would be right. Now it's a little hard for me to understand because I'm not the one writing the order, and if the order is written by someone else, I would hope that they understood what they were writing the order about.
Oh, correct. Absolutely. And so, have they ever followed up yet, or is it still kind of in a limbo?
Oh, no, he followed up and wrote the order, and unfortunately, it got sent to us, I think, in an email with a bunch of other documents, and no one contacted us. So my wife and I, even though the order was issued in March, we didn't find out until somewhere around April 18th or 20th, till there actually was an order. And then when we found out and we read the order, it said, well, anything above ground needed to be removed, whatever within 30 days, and everything else because the ground's frozen. Anything else it said ground. It said anything else below ground with footings after June 1st. Okay, so I'm like, okay, June 1st, fine, right?
I'm still kind of lost because, I don't know how the local laws work there, but I know in my state, an email would not be an official way to send you any kind of an order.
No. It's not that. The order was written and it was sent to my lawyers, and the lawyers sent it to us in an email. But as our lawyers, no one ever called and said, hey, by the way, the order's been issued and here's what it is.
Okay, I see.
So it's not on the court for that at all, no. So that's not on the court. So anyways, at that point, I was already out of town, and so was my wife. And we had other things going on, and we talked to our lawyer and said, okay, well, it says June 1st. We're like, okay, June 1st, fine, right?
Yep.
Concrete stuff out June 1st, concrete stuff. There were 1 footing and 3 poles with footings. We had till June 1st. And we were out of town, and it was in April, and it's like, whatever, we can get that done, right? Who couldn't?
Yep.
So then, after our pre-planned journeys, right? Pre-planned, because we had no idea till we found this out in April. Pre-planned journeys. After our pre-planned journeys were done, and we got back, within days, guess what we found out?
What's that?
The city wanted to put us in contempt of court for not removing the concrete footings and the associated poles. Actually, they say the associated poles as if they're detachable. Okay? It's not like they're bolted together. It's poles that were put in the ground with concrete poured around them.
And what's the code for that? Like, you're not allowed to have concrete poles in your yard?
No, they've got the problem with communities like Orono is they've got several encompassing ordinances that they tend to use to misconstrue in order to get their point across and win. And how I'm going to say this is that one of the ordinances they used against us was the 0 to 10 foot side yard setback, that you're not supposed to have any structures there, right?
Mm.
Well, what do you think that ordinance is based on?
I'd say just stuff they're making up.
No. There's always a reason for a city to make an ordinance. The problem is when the city doesn't understand the real reasons that they get to make ordinances. Okay? So I'll give you a clue. Cities and communities can make ordinances and laws to protect the health, safety, and welfare of other citizens.
Correct. But they're still voted on by the people, right?
Well, who's ever doing it on like a city council, that is where their authority derives from, is that. If they're making ordinances for, say, the color of a house, they're exceeding their authority.
Overreaching.
Right, because their opinion of a color isn't someone else's that has nothing to do with what I said, health, safety, or welfare.
Thomas added in the room, he says, any lawyer I know would have typed it up, mailed it, and billed the client for the time.
Exactly. And it all goes back to the criminal code, because the criminal code is all about the word tort. And the word tort means inflicting something upon another. Okay? And that's the same thing with this code. Health, safety, and welfare of others is potential of inflicting a tort.
It's sad. It's really sad, especially the money that you're actually, putting in there just as much as everybody else in that town. Like, you should be just as equal as everybody else.
Well, you'd think so, but the last thing they want to hear. And the crazy thing is, there used to be a mayor before me years ago, because I was elected to the city. Actually, I was appointed to the planning commission in my community, and I was elected to city council. So it's not like I'm an outsider speaking in. Okay, so I have been here and done that. I went and knocked on 2,000 out of 3,000 doors in my community, and I won my election to city council running away.
So, when is this ever going to end with you? Are they ever going to stop nitpicking?
Well, unfortunately, it seems like the only way that would end is for us to leave. And how nice would that be for someone who grew up here? All they ever wanted to be here is because they were disadvantaged growing up, and they finally found their spot here. And then they're chased out because they're not special enough for the other people. How crazy would that be?
Really crazy. It's sad almost. It was obviously one of your dreams to own a house in that neighborhood.
Always been my dream. Are you kidding me? I grew up watching kids with money everywhere, all the time, doing this and that, and I never got to. And the only thing I ever wanted to be out is something in this house. And then, you know what? People don't get it. Not only did I move into this house, but I customized it with the home theater and a hot tub and other stuff to make it the way that, get this, me and the 1965 Chris Craft boat that my dad bought for my mom back in the 1960s that I still own on this lake. This is a place for us to be. And this is what they're trying to chase away.
It's sad. And you got a beautiful house, by the way. I wish I had more pictures to show it off to everybody. It's a really beautiful house.
Well, thanks for that, because it's been a lot of work, I'll tell you that.
Looks very modern.
It's really funny because I remember when my wife and I started hooking up back, I think it was 1980, 1990. I think it was 1990 or 91 when we started hooking up, and we ran around here on a boat, and this thing was freshly remodeled right after that because it was remodeled, I think, in 84. So it looked really nice. And I remember driving by it on the boat, looking at it, admiring it myself.
It's so sad. I mean, you established so much there. It is such a beautiful property, a beautiful house, and such an ugly local government you have to deal with on an almost daily basis.
Yeah, but there's always a bright side, and there's potentially some bright news coming up in the near future. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that it works out for everybody in that manner. So.
It looks like Pete joined us. Hey, Pete, do you have anything you want to ask him?
About?
Oh, yeah, you just joined our stream. We're talking about his deal with the local government nitpicking at him, trying to get rid of him, pretty much. And he established all this, like this property, his house. And it's a beautiful house. There's a good shot of it right there. Everybody's going to see this pop up real soon. It's a beautiful house. And this is something that he dreamed about for years, being able to finally live in this neighborhood, owning this house and everything, and he finally got it. And now this crooked government doesn't want him to have wind turbines. They don't want him to do this. They don't want him to do that. And now the whole turbine deal's over. Well, it's not really over, but now that that's out of the way, now they're going after other things like, oh, it doesn't look like this boat's operating, or, oh, what is this out here? You got a dock that's not, or I forgot, what was it with the dock?
Well, the dock issue is more from the neighbors and the LMCD, but during the litigation with the city, they had their own dock thing with where we stored the dock on the property during the winter. And everybody, when they store their dock, they store it near the property line so you don't have to look at it. You kind of push it to the side. Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was part of the big deal was I was supposed part of their contempt order against us was that we had stored stuff within 10 feet of the property line. And that's what we were talking about. We never got to that answer, Josh. Okay. Let's get back to that.
Yeah, let's get back to that. I just got one more thing. Someone just said in the room, and he said you should get a good lawyer to settle these things with the local gov. And Jay actually has some really good lawyers.
Hey, listen, there's one thing I got to say, okay? And I'm going to quote a John Wayne movie. John Wayne with Kim Darby. Remember when she was up in the hills, when she was caught in Rooster Cogburn near the end? And what's his name had her? And she says, man, I got my lawyer, Daggett. He'll help you out. You just got, let me go. He'll help you. And he says to her, he says, yeah. He says, I don't need a good lawyer. He says, I need me a good judge.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Well, it is real truthful. You need someone who's really interested in dealing with it, especially with esoteric stuff like this, who's willing to take on the challenge and willing to take it on to the point where they understand the nuances and what's going on so they can make the right choice, as opposed to someone who just doesn't want to deal with it because they're too busy. And we found that one time with Judge Philip Bush, who ruled in our favor, stating that every person in Minnesota had the right to harvest the wind. Well, we've gotten that win, and since we had that win like 4 or 5 years ago, now we lost this lawsuit where we had to take 2 small wind turbines out, micro wind turbines out, that have been in before that ruling. How's that for crazy?
I find that insane. I still don't see how those are affecting. Those little ones by the lake weren't doing anything to anybody.
So get this, we also have to take clotheslines out.
Oh, you can't hang your clothes now.
Clothesline.
That is insane.
My mom never had a dryer in her life. She raised 4 kids with no dryer. And I can't have clotheslines? You know, sometimes there isn't places on your property to put stuff except where there's places to put them, right?
Yeah.
And that's your property and that's what you paid for, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you pay taxes on that property and you always have, right?
Yep. That's the sadder part is the taxes that you got to pay every year and they still could do this to you.
$8,000 a year, $8,000 at this place on average at our house.
And there is no deal title law there, is there?
So what's 8,000 times 20 years? And I don't get to have clotheslines?
16,000. Oh, I don't even know why I even calculated it.
160, buddy.
I'm not even thinking. I was like 16,000. Oh, yeah, I could have just added those zeros.
I knew I set you into a quandary. That's why.
That one threw me for a loop for a second. I don't know why. I had a brain fart there. 2 times 8.
$160,000 in taxes, and we don't get to hang our clothes. And you know what? I don't like using a dryer because I do not like to bake my clothes or put chemicals in them.
It's insane. So what is this they're going after you now?
Oh, because there's a court order that says stuff has to be out by June 1st. And here's the crazy part. June 1st, it says anything concrete, ground or below, and above stuff had to be removed by 30 days from the order. Well, the order was March, towards the end of March. We didn't find out towards the end of April. So we were behind the gun. And at that point, we were out of town. But then when we looked, we had already complied with the rest of it. It was just these 3 poles and this other footing. And I was going to be back in town to do it by June 1st, like it said. But after we got back in town, within 3-4 days, all of a sudden we're hit with this contempt order, like we're violating the court like bad people. And get this, I'm supposed to go to jail from this initial thing from what I saw in May 16th, and my wife's supposed to go the next day. But I don't know. I have no idea. That was the initial threat to my lawyer. I haven't seen anything else. No one's been served with anything. So I have no idea what's really going on with any of that. That's just some initial paperwork that they threatened our lawyer with. You know?
Insane. I hope you get a huge harassment lawsuit win on this.
Now, these people understand that I have PTSD. Okay, it's been well explained to them that I suffer from it, and all this shit going on with me just drives me freaking nuts, because part of my PTSD is I just want to be left alone.
Right.
You know, that's a huge part of PTSD, is you want to be left alone. And these people won't quit impinging on my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Court order says June 1st. June 1st, right? June 1st. So get this. I told my lawyer because, you know, whatever, we'll do our best. My son and I pulled one of the 3 poles out.
It's insane. How deep do you got them?
Well, the one with the clothesline pole, we got out there with shovels. It took my son and I a day between other stuff we were doing. A day with a shovel, a sledgehammer. We got that thing out of there. And so that's one of them. So we got 2 more. One of them's a little loose, but it's got a bigger footing on the one side, and the other, I think we could probably get on it. So I think a day each. You know, but it's a matter of, it's got to be, you know, like, so get this. The roads around here have something called road restrictions on them. Do you know what those are?
More code?
Yes, they are codes, but they actually are important in work. Okay? And the only reason I say that is because I'm an engineer and it's a civil engineering thing. that when the ground is thawing, you cannot have vehicles with so much weight traveling over roads until they're fully thawed all the way through, so everything flexes right instead of being frozen like halfway down, because then you can crush. Okay, so that's what road restrictions are for, is when the roads thaw in the spring. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, we got those in the village I live in.
Okay, well, that's what they have here. They still have road restrictions on the roads in my community, and I'm expected to pull these things out of the frozen ground.
I know, it's insane. Yeah, they're just trying to get you to do that in the middle of the winter time.
Oh, God, yeah. We were supposed to go in jail right away. Right away in February. I mean, this city is so abusive when it comes to the use of the contempt statute. The court should be pissed at the city. Okay? And here's something that really bothers me. Is that the court should be there to protect the citizens from the government, not the government from the citizens. And it sure seems to me like when I've been to court, it's been, they're trying to protect the government from me, as if in some manner I'm going to cause the government problems.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
I know, and it sits in the back of your mind, too, how insane it sounds, doesn't it?
Well, you know what? I know several founding fathers, including my favorite is Benjamin Franklin, who'd be spinning in their graves.
Liberty Dude said earlier, a little bit ago, it seems like they're trying to take your land.
It's more than just trying to chase me out.
It does kind of, I kind of wonder that too, a little. Like, does someone else have an eye on your place and they want to, like, complete their little collection of houses or something?
No, they don't care who lives here, as long as who lives here gets along with them.
That is insanity.
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of what I grew up with in this community as a youth. I mean, it's a wealthy community, and that's the way it was, and it's kind of always been that way, because when people get money, they tend to think more of themselves than others.
Yep, greed. Greed and power. Oh, I'm better than you. What I say is 100,000 times more powerful than your word.
Well, even not so much that. It's like, because I think this way, you probably should too.
I mean, I feel that from a lot of these organizations and stuff all the time, that, they think they could sit there. People these companies everywhere take advantage of people all the time, and they use this fake power of authority to try to gain control of everything. And this is a huge, gross negligence. It's being allowed in your government, your local government right now. They're abusing the power to sway their narrative.
Well, the one thing I'm going to disagree with is you said fake power of authority. No, you know what?
It's not real. It's not real. It was just city code elected.
They have real elected authority in this community to do what they're doing, and that's the sad part. Now, I sent a email to all the city council people of Orono, pointing out that their mayor formed a company mirroring mine, Go Green Energy LLC Corporation. I sent them all that email. And do you know what I got for a response from that?
What's
nothing?
I figured.
Not single one of them even responded about it, as if it was normal for sitting city council people, corporations, to mirror citizens up the street that they don't like.
And it seems like everybody that's a part of that city council and everything, they're just pretty much against you now. You used to be a councilman, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Way back when. Now, y'all remember Jesse the Body?
Oh, yeah, big time.
When he got elected governor, it was the same year I got elected city council.
and now these people they probably didn't like the stuff that you was doing, and then this is their way of trying to get rid of you. You've probably too much problems for them.
Well, it was a different group of people back then by far. And to me, the difference between the group of people from them to now is a lack of integrity. You know, although some of them back then may have been a little misguided, they were all honorable in my opinion. As opposed to now, I find little honor in people who would support others who have openly done what others have. And I see in my opinion, I see very, very little integrity in the local city council. And you know, I also see that they work very hard to protect themselves over that.
It's sad.
It really is. I mean, it's a small community. It's a small freaking community. 8,000 people, 3,500 houses. Really, this is what we have to be doing these days?
It's sad. Liberty guy asked, is it worth it to stay there? And I've actually asked you this before, and because it's something that not everybody could do. Because this will make a normal person really go broke fast, very fast. And so this is something that you really have to commit to, and you got to know if you can financially do it.
That's a really good question. There's more than one answer to that. One is it's worth it from the standpoint of, you know, I grew up here. This is what I always wanted. And here I am. And now people move in and they want to chase me out. And it's sad that it gets to that point. Secondly, it's hard to move out or sell your house or even think about it when you have people who continue to sue you. You cannot sue your property when it's in the middle of a lawsuit. And when the neighbors choose to sue you and sue the city to sue you, and then the city sues you, okay, and they enact $1 million coverage to go after you, and you have to defend yourself because if you give in, your property's worthless, you have no choice. You have to keep fighting until you win, until you make things right so you can recover your value. Now,
absolutely.
You know, you have no choice. It's a tremendous question. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but hopefully there's a settlement in the works that will help us later in the year deal with all of this stuff and make everything better. But we'll just have to see how that goes.
And just think, there used to be a long time ago, where when people tried to do stuff like this, you used to be able to just shoot them.
Can you imagine? Can anyone imagine? You know, it's not that I fantasize about this, but I wonder because I love Westerns and I love history. And I also am a student of human nature because of the different things that have happened in my life. But can you imagine all the years and all the people who just disappeared in the West and nobody ever knew about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because no one allowed tyrants to run anything.
What percent of the people out west died before a certain period? You know what I mean? Due to animals or people or catastrophes or other things that nobody ever knew of. You know, like a wife killing a husband killing a wife, or whatever, or the catastrophe comes through, or a family gets wiped out from the Indians or whatever. Who knows?
It's definitely crazy the situation you're in now, and it's like the only way you can fight this is through the court systems, and it seems like they have that on their side, so you gotta extra fight it, which is really insane.
Well, you know, and it's a little reminiscent of that, and that, you know what, it's the Old West style, and that you got to stand up for yourself, and you can't give in. You know, you got to circle the wagons, and you got to hunker down and you got to fight it out till you know you're going to win.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, the only reason why I would even want to do this is just because it's, your property. You put your sweat and blood and everything into it. It's yours. You paid the taxes. You paid for the ownership. I mean, it's crazy that they could just sit there and do that.
No, I completely agree. That's a super huge part of that is property rights. And unfortunately, way unfortunately, it seems that I understand more about that than most of the people up on the city council or the lawyers who want to admit it or deal with it kind of stuff. Way unfortunately about that. And that's a big part of it is the property rights, but that's not all of it. It's not even close to all of it. You know what? The property rights are what my wife and I hold on to as a big issue, right? But there's something else much bigger. You know what that is, Josh?
What's that?
There's a ton of people out there who do not have the ability to stand up for what's right and to try to make sure that things keep going in the right direction and that rights are protected and that people are protected and that people are going to get to do what people do and that they aren't infringed upon. There are so many people not capable of doing that.
I know. Someone has to create a stand.
Well, and it's about that. And it's turned out to be more than just a stance with property rights with our issue. You know yourself. What's the other big issue going on here, Josh?
It's mainly
it's called a mental illness. It's called a mental illness. And it's hard to say that, but I do have PTSD. And, I served in the military and I suffered abuse as a kid. And there's certain things in my life that tend to drive me nuts. It's called triggering you.
I think they know that. They understand exactly what they're doing to you.
Exactly. And that's the hard part. And what's been really hard for me is how the courts have completely ignored that no matter how much it's been presented. I'm an articulate white guy, and that just happens to be who I am. And unfortunately to me, it seems like that's held against me, that being this person, I still can't suffer that consequence. And it's crazy.
It's so messed up. I mean, I don't know what to do. Honestly, I'd be just as lost as you are right now. And it just sucks. Like, the main thing I really don't get is like all this stuff is in your backyard. It's not seen from the front or anything. What is it really harming?
I did the best I could when I installed the first one to make it as unobtrusive as possible. And it spun no shit. The edge of one of the rotors spun no less than 10 feet from about where my wife's head slept. And if she would have had a problem with it, I guarantee you I would have heard about it.
Oh,
she never groused about it, but for some reason it bothered other people.
All it would have took them is just a decibel meter to read.
Well, they made stuff up. Like, well, when we get up every morning, we got to look right at it. Well, yeah, only if you crane your head sideways.
Right.
Well, it's just the way it is. But, get back to what I was saying about the PTSD and what you said and how you thought they intentionally trigger it. It seems to me that they do too. And that they know that this happens and that they know that the more they just keep doing this stuff, hopefully eventually it'll drive me out of town and away from what I always dreamed of. Isn't that crazy?
It is. I don't see them lasting too much longer. There's no way this could drag out any longer. I think your lawyers are about to have this finally wrapped up soon.
Well, we've got a settlement agreement with the neighbors, and we're working on that right now. And then when it comes to the city, like I said, I removed. Here, the city wants to put me in jail, and then my wife has 24 hours to comply, or she gets to go to jail. 24 hours, okay. And then we both get to go to jail for 6 months or until we comply, which I don't know how we comply while we're in jail, right?
Yep.
Anyways, our lawyer told them that we were going to do our best this weekend to remove one of the 3 poles. And get this, it was removed Friday, but that wasn't good enough. They still filed the paperwork and want us put in jail, I hear. I don't know. That's what I hear. I haven't seen any paperwork. I don't know that. So
It's insane. I look at it as all harassment. Like, this is not. It's a clear case of harassment. So when you do comply with removing this concrete, bases and poles and stuff like that, what's next? What do you think will be next?
we are anxiously awaiting for this doggone case to get closed so we can file our retaliation suit against the city for the years of abuse.
Good deal. That's what I was kind of hoping that's what the next challenge is going to be after that. And they've been building this the whole entire time, right?
Well, we've been building it, but they've been trying to put it off and deny it.
Right. Well, that's what I meant. Your lawyer's been building this case this whole entire time for when this is over. Now they're going to hit with this, right?
It's already 80% written.
Good deal. I hope they go down.
And actually, this latest incident of trying to throw us in jail 2 weeks before the order says, 2 weeks before the order says, trying to get us in front of the judge and make life miserable for us. That's going to be a big part of it, too.
Insane. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Is there anything else you want to put in here?
Yeah, the Twins are doing great. Go Twins.
Oh, yeah, good deal. Well, thank you all for coming here, and definitely wish Jay luck here. He really needs it. He needs your support, positive vibes, anything you can send his way.
Hey, Turbine Guy. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube, please, Turbine Guy.
Yeah, you can find him easily. You can type Jay Nygaard, the Turbine Guy, or just Turbine Guy. You'll see him pop right up. If you're on Joshu's search, just type Turbine Guy, and it'll take you right to his stuff. Well, good deal. Thanks for being on the show, and let me have you and talk to you on here, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Thank you all for coming tonight, and we will see you all in the next censored video. Peace out, guys.